Hello, everyone, and a very good evening. Welcome to our thematic webinar on management and business courses in the UK. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm just going to allow people to come in, settle down. This is going to be a live session, so we're just going to kick off in a minute. I'm sure all of you have had a really long day. You've all been in school or college or maybe even office. So I just want to tell you that this is going to be a very relaxing session. It's an opportunity for you to hear from the experts, ask your questions, just sit back and listen to what the experts have to say. We have two excellent UK universities here, and we have representatives from the UK universities whom you can ask questions to directly. So all your questions around not just studying and living in the UK, but around studying business and management in the UK, what kind of jobs you can get after that, are there scholarships available, how do, what is the classroom experience like, what kind of modules will you study, everything. All of those questions will be answered here. And I can already see questions coming into the Q&A box, which means you all know where to find it, but I'm still going to tell the rest that there is a small bubble on your screen with a question mark on it. That's the Q&A box. Do put your questions in there, and I'll make sure that the panel is able to answer that during the event today. Before we start, I want to quickly mention a couple of things, although you'll see the links popping up on the Q&A box as well. The British Council is hosting a subject fair. We're hosting a business and management fair. It's going to be on the 12th of February, which is a Saturday. It's going to be from 2:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. So please make sure you register for that. Just make sure that you register for that in the link that is going to be shared by us shortly. There are also very useful business and management e-guides that are available on our website, and that link is going to be shared as well, so you can check those out. Okay, so back to the event. Very excited to introduce this brilliant panel to all of you. If I may just request everyone to come on video for a quick minute. We have Keith Schofield from Aston University and Soumya Agarwal from Aston University. Keith is Associate Dean International at Aston Business School, and Soumya is the country manager. So welcome, Keith. Welcome, Soumya. Thank you so much for being here with us. We also have with us University of South Wales. So we have Dr. Philippos Proedru, who is the course leader there, and we have Arshi Sheikh, who is currently studying MBA Global and is a current student there. Hi Arshi, hi Philippos, thank you so much for joining us. So this is actually a really unique opportunity for all of us, because we can hear from a student who's there right now. So if you have questions around what it is like to live there, the challenges that you may or may not face, the opportunities that you have, how easy or challenging it's been in the last couple of years, I think Arshi will be more than happy to tell us about that. So without further ado, I can see the questions just pouring in, so I'm going to request the panel to keep an eye on that and answer whatever they can in the Q&A box. But let us kick off. I'm going to invite Keith to come on camera and start your presentation for Aston Business School. And after that, we're going to pause for questions. So don't worry, all your questions will be answered. Yeah, so just put those in the Q&A box. I can see your presentation, Keith. You're good to go.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's great to be here. Thank you for your time. My name is Keith Schofield. I'm the Associate Dean International Future Students and Product Development here at Aston University. And I've got responsibility for our business school, and that's what I'll be talking you through this afternoon. A little bit of background about Aston University. So we're located in Birmingham, so the UK's second city, about an hour from London. And here are some of our accolades. So in the business school, you can see that we're triple accredited by AACSB, Amber for our MBA programs, and Equis. And in the UK, we were ranked 30th overall from The Guardian, and we were Guardian University of the Year in 2020. Other great things that we're really proud of, particularly in the business school, is that in the 2020 World Rankings for QS, we were ranked in the top 100 for business and management, as well as being the Entrepreneurial University of the Year. And it's the entrepreneurial element of the university that I want to talk to you about today, and thinking about how you as students can come and kind of really benefit from the entrepreneurial spirit and attitude that we have at Aston. Other great things that you can see already on screen there around our student performance is around the continuation rate that we have. So students who start with us continue, want to stay with us, want to progress. They graduate as the 15th highest earners in the UK. And 30th for graduate prospects. So everything around our programs is designed to ensure that you're going to progress onto amazing careers afterwards. The accreditation, of course, we have the triple accreditation as the business school with AACSB, Equus and Amber, as I mentioned, but also across our program suite we have course specific accreditation. So you're not only leaving with your Aston qualification, but with professional recognition. So ACCA, the accounting body you may be familiar with, the Chartered Institute of Marketing, the CFA Institute, who are responsible for financial services, as well as CIPD, who are the HR professional body here in the UK, and CIPS, who are the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supply. So each of those kind of fit into the variety of programs that we have across our suite. Another accreditation that we've recently got was from the Digital Marketing Institute, and they have accredited our MSc in Strategic Digital Marketing, and this is the program that I wanted to talk through with you this afternoon. So Strategic Digital Marketing is a program which is designed to enable you to get all of the skills required, not only practical skills in how to design and develop creative content, but in how to fit this into your organizations, how you can be a strategic leader in business, following a pathway that supports all of the development and growth of your organizations. The Strategic Digital Marketing program is the sister to our Strategic Marketing Management program, which is ranked in the top 40 of QS marketing master's degrees, and it really is an up-to-date current program which gives you insights into how to develop clear and robust and well-prepared digital branding programs for organizations, how to conduct research, market research, and feed that into your marketing programs and to ensure that businesses are able to grow and succeed. The courses has got all sorts of very interesting modules in there, where you'll be looking at digital strategy, advertising, but also thinking about consumers and the psychology of being sold to the digital marketing environment that we're operating in. The next program that I wanted to introduce you to was really building on that entrepreneurial strand that I mentioned earlier when we were Entrepreneurial University of the Year. And this is the MSc in Entrepreneurship. And this program is really designed to enable you to think about how business operates in an international context. And so you can think of this from the starting point of, I want to look at small businesses, I want to enable small businesses to grow, but you can also think about, well, within an organization, I need to be entrepreneurial. I need to develop business plans. I need to pitch ideas to senior leaders, to department heads, whomever. And so the entrepreneurship masters that we run is all designed around being able to build your confidence in developing market opportunities, recognizing those, and identifying strategies for organizations to grow. We've got an example here on the right of Stuart, who he set up a tea and coffee business and all sorts of spices, which he did as a part of his program. So he's now kind of leading the way in the region in that kind of activity. So this is our kind of academic version of entrepreneurship, and then we also have an MSc in Business Enterprise Development. And this program is really, really exciting because it isn't just about you learning about entrepreneurship, it's about you being entrepreneurial yourselves. And so there are opportunities for you to work on businesses that you might have already in India while you're studying with us in the UK. You can support other people who are setting up businesses. And it's a very, very different learning approach that we have on this program. So you are allocated, you form a team as part of your first couple of weeks of study, and then it's completely self-directed. So of course you're given access to classrooms, you're given access to academics and to all of the latest research, but you think about your business aspirations and you decide what you want to learn and how you want to learn it. You do that as a team, so you're constantly negotiating within your team about what the priorities are, what's going to bring you the best return on investment, how are you going to negotiate this with each of your peers. And then you're then allocated a coach, and this coach is the person who helps you to scaffold and to understand all of the processes that are happening around you. So it's a great opportunity for people who want to be entrepreneurial and want to set up their own businesses, but also the transferable skills that you will get from engaging in this program will really help to underpin an amazing career for you afterwards. One of the things I noticed in the chat already, there was a question about employability and how do we support you in getting roles afterwards. And I've given you three very niche programs around marketing and enterprise and entrepreneurship. But across all of the master's degrees that we have at Aston Business School, we have the Aston Global Advantage embedded into them. So whether you want to come and study entrepreneurship or marketing or accounting and finance or the MBA program or business and management more broadly, you'll be given the opportunity to study the Aston Global Advantage. And this is an employability embedded program that spans across all of our degrees. And what it is designed to do is to enable you to develop these team building, leadership, analytical reasoning skills. You work on live business problems and as part of the business clinic that we operate in the city. And you'll be working with students who are on different programs. So you'll obviously have people who are doing marketing as well with you, but you might be working in a team with people who are doing crisis management or analytics or human resource management. So the opportunity for you to develop these intercultural communication skills, to be able to network and to problem solve and to deliver presentations is all built into this Aston Global Advantage. And that spans all of your taught program. And then you're offered the opportunity of specialising into a further stream. So we have opportunities for you to study abroad. So obviously you'll be studying abroad already here with us in the UK, but if you wanted to do a second degree with one of our partners in Europe, so in France or Germany, or if you wanted to go further afield and go to Canada or to Japan, then all of those opportunities are available to you. We have opportunities for work experience, and so that is whether you want to stay in Birmingham and do a virtual internship. We have those available with local firms and global firms, but we also have internships and work experience embedded into the Aston Global Advantage for you to spend a period of your time in the UK gaining real life work experience, which will hopefully really benefit you if you wanted to stay in the UK afterwards. For those of you who want to broaden your business experience without having to go to work for it, we have a business simulation, and this you'll be working in a different team that you've been studying with all year. And this simulation, you'll work through a number of years of business decisions. So if you're studying something like marketing, then it's a great opportunity for you to zoom out from the marketing world and think about how all of the other elements of business and management interact in order to inform business decisions. And then for the entrepreneurial amongst you, we have the product, intellectual property and entrepreneurship stream. And this is supported by Aston Law School, where we have IP specialists who will help you to design and develop a product, make sure that it's protected, and then work on business plans and strategies to launch that. So we haven't got an awful lot of time, but hopefully that's given you a real insight into what we have going on here at Aston Business School. I'll leave you with just this final slide, which is showing you some of our reputation reinforcers, and obviously I'm available in the chat as well. So thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Keith. That was excellent, and I think that was short and sweet and really impactful. I hope that was useful for everyone. We've got Quite a few questions, and I'm going to go straight to that. Okay, let's start with some Aston-specific questions. Will Aston University have MBA courses for finance? So I guess MBA courses with a specialty in finance?
So we don't have specific pathways on the MBA program, but there are the full-time MBA program includes finance modules, of course, and then there are opportunities for you to specialise with the elective modules in international finance.
Okay, great. I'm going to, sorry, there's some noise outside the window, but if I may request Philippos to also come on video, because there are some general questions that I've just taken a note of that I thought I'll take to the whole panel. And Arshi as well, if you want to come on video. So are there any prerequisite subjects before taking business and management courses, or is it sort of open to any background? What are you looking for in terms of eligibility? Philippos, do you want to take this one?
For us, there are no prerequisites in terms of previous studies, and there is no prerequisite for having work experience of minimum 2 or 5 years. The prerequisites are that students, because this is a master's program, of course, they have a bachelor degree with a minimum degree of 2.2, and the requirement for the English language. All those are visible in the website, and it's information that can be very readily available for everyone. And of course, there are dedicated email addresses where you can direct any such questions at any point in time. But as an MBA global course in USW, we don't require anything else beyond these two.
Great. Keith, is there anything, is it similar for you, or is there anything different to add?
It is similar for us at Aston, yes. So that most of the programs in the business school, you require a 2.2, and the English language requirement's the same. If you wanted to study business analytics, or we have an information systems and business analytics program, they require you to have a first degree that's quite quantitatively heavy. But other than that, we're happy to take any first degree.
Great. These are going to be some very quick ones, just more of a yes or no thing. Do you have summer programs for students who are still in school in India and who may want to explore this in the future? So summer programs for, let's say, final year school students, 16 to 18-year-olds?
Not at USW, no.
Okay. Do we have options of dual degrees in terms of, sort of doing a minor and a major in either institution or in the UK in general? It's not terribly common in the UK, so no, I would think that's a no.
No, the closest we have would be to do a second degree with one of our partner universities abroad. The business and management degree that we have is very, very broad. It's has a very small core element, and then the rest is options. So you could select very different options depending on your specialism or what you wanted to look at.
Okay.
Still be different.
On the side of USW, the course is accredited by CMI, so students can also apply for membership and get a certificate in management from CMI. This takes place once the degree is awarded, and students have a window of several months to apply for that.
Okay, thank you.
So it's not a minor or major, but it's a plus.
Yeah, got it. Okay. Do you have integrated courses for UG and PG? So you sort of enter into a UG program and you finish completely once you're done with post-graduation?
We don't at Aston, no. So we would have a 3-year undergraduate degree for international students, and then you'd then be eligible for an alumni scholarship. You then came to do a postgraduate degree, but we don't really have in business any 4 or 5 year integrated masters.
Great. Okay.
It's the same at USW as well.
Same. Okay, thank you. There are some questions on scholarships which I'm going to let the universities kind of cover in their presentations, which they have. So I think if I may request the students to just keep an eye out for that. There are some interesting questions now on, if I may invite Archie back on camera. How does the university prepare students to be employable, given that there are new skills coming up every day? The requirement in the job market is obviously very dynamic. I will, Archie, ask you first to answer that, and then I'll go to the universities.
Okay. Basically, we have been having 5 modules which we have been taught in a first year, and in the second year we have been given a lots of technical and skills. Like in the second term, we have been given some time to prepare for different skills like a communication skill, personality development, how to write, how to communicate. These kind of skills have been given on our university website. So we are attending those skills, we are preparing ourselves, and after that we are having a time where we can ready our CVs. There, even our university is helping us to make our CVs. They are giving us some skills to put in our CV so that when we are going in the market, we are ready with our skills. This is how like my university is helping me out with the professionally.
Yep, that makes sense. Thanks, Archie. Anything to add to that, Keith and Philippos?
Yes, so Archie is basically referring to the in-between semesters work online packages, where between semester 1 and 2, students take some dedicated time to work on their CVs and cover letter through our career services team. Subsequently, in between the years, we also have an online work package so that students can work more on their negotiation, communication, presentation, and so on skills. But the support is embedded throughout the program. As I'm going to say in the presentation, this course has just been validated with only a minor amendments pending, which means that we now have also more placement pathways and more solidly embedded within the program students support for placements, including a personal and professional skills development module that will run throughout the 20 months duration of the course.
Excellent. Keith, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I can. So if you Google the Aston Global Advantage, that was the 3-part slide that I put on screen earlier, and so you'll see there that's the embedded professional development and careers support that we have. We have a dedicated careers advisor for just the master's degrees, who will be helping you with assessment centres, with CV writing and personal development as well.
Great. Questions are pouring in, but I'm just going to take 2 more before I go to the next presentation. So do you have programs after school where you don't need to take the IELTS? I guess that's your standard undergraduate course. So students in India, after you finish your schooling, if you've studied at ICSE, CBSE or an international board, you are typically eligible to just start in a UK university. And I think if you want to add to that, Soumya, Keith, Philippos, anybody wants to add to that, but I think it would be a typical UG course. After school. Soumya, you're on mute.
As always. Yes. My apologies. So just to add to that, so we don't really allow all students to start with an IELTS waiver or an ELQ waiver. So for Indian students, we do that selectively for some students. So I posted the link in the chat as well, and you can see the IELTS waiver eligibility requirements there. But just to let you all know, if it's scored above 75% in English in CBSE or ISE board, or 80 and up in state board or NIOS, you will be eligible for an IELTS waiver. So similarly, we have IELTS waiver requirements for those who've studied IB or GCSEs as well. So again, I think it's the same thing. Just hop into our India page for Aston University, and you will be able to see the waiver requirements for us.
Brilliant. I think it would be similar, isn't it, for South Wales?
So we don't have evening classes for graduates and so on. This is not on offer. We have a very dedicated program to students only for students who study full time with us on this program.
Right, that makes sense. Thank you. Thanks for the post for that. Last question before I go on to the next presentation would be what kind of experience or programs are on offer for those who have had some experience already for, let's say, around 8 to 10 years of work experience? How can these courses cater to that profile of people? Keith, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, thank you. So I think about two different programs that we have. So one would be the MBA, so triple accredited MBA program, and you will require at least 3 years of work experience to come onto that. So that will be good for you if you are looking to kind of accredit the learning that you've been doing in business already and take your career to the next stage. The other program would be the Business Enterprise Development Program that I mentioned, because if you're at the point in your career now where you're thinking that you might want to start your own venture, then spending a year with us on that might be a great way to start to formulate those ideas.
Philip, do you want to come in?
Yeah, for the MBA Global at USW, we have students who jump onto us after their first degree or students with a significant work experience. I think that it's just a different step in the ladder for them. For the students with work experience, they just want to take it to the next level. I have many students telling me, I have done this for 3-5 years. I want to move on. And in order to move on, I need to have this degree and all the skills that go with it so they can apply for more high standard jobs. And this is what the MBA Global does, upskill people so that they can take more senior and more leadership roles.
Great. And if I can just flip that question, do you need work experience to be able to study these courses, or any course in your institution? Is it absolutely compulsory to have work experience?
As I said before, for our course, it's not a prerequisite. So we are open to students who want to jump from the grad or the undergraduate, postgraduate level. It's always a plus. And of course, we encourage students from across the board.
Similar in Aston?
Yeah, the only program that we require work experience for is the MBA. The rest of all of the other business programs, we're happy to take you straight from your first degree.
Brilliant. Great. The questions are coming in. I'm going to request the universities to keep an eye on the chat. There are specific questions for the universities across very specific subjects. So it'll be great if you can answer those in the chat, but I'm going to welcome Philippos to start your presentation, please, from the University of South Wales. Great, I can see your slides.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this. So I'm happy to go on with the presentation, and in case there are any further questions, I will look at the chat box afterwards. So it's great to be here and present the MBA Global, the flagship course of the University of South Wales Business School. As I said when answering the previous question, the course has been validated 10 days ago, which on the one hand means that it's very, very, very up to date, and it will start for the first time, it will run for the first time from September 2022. On the other hand, for legal reasons, I have to raise the caveat that there are a few amendments that currently are being undertaken. We're going to get the final approval in March. So we're very confident that this will run in the form that I am going to present, but I have to underline here this legal caveat. So the philosophy underpinning our program is that it should be tailored to and responsive to the demands of the global business management. This is why in preparing for the new format of the course, we have held extensive discussions and collaborations with our placement providers, with external organizations, with colleagues from across the university, so that we can create a very fresh and up-to-date and fit-for-purpose course for our students and the future students. Secondly, we're operating, of course, within a high research culture, so our classes and our business activities are research informed, and we consider our students part of this growing research culture. And the third pillar is our approach to the global problems. The USW and the MBA Global are signatories to the UN Global Compact. We support the Sustainable Development Goals and the economic, social, and governance investment criteria, and we try to strike a fine balance between the need of the business to remain profitable at the same time that we are in search as a world for socioeconomic solutions to our grave problems like climate change, the pandemic, and so on. So within this framework that the course operates, we are offering specialisms because we understand the need of our target markets to have specialism, and because we understand that students can focus on different specialism areas and excel in those. So besides the MBA Global General Pathway, we have specialisms in finance, marketing, supply chain, human resources management, and entrepreneurship. So here is the general picture of our degree. We are holding 20 months, 12 for the first year and 8 for the second year. The first year is the taught year with 6 modules. The second year is where we have the practical elements, the main business project and the placement. As you can see in the bottom line, we have a personal and professional development skills module which will run throughout the course, which will be tailored to the specialism of that the students take, and which will allow them to continually reflect on their skills gap and improve on those. And this is a very, very solid element of how we prepare our students for placements and for employability later on. I just want to stress that we have 2 incoming cohorts in September and in February. So as you can see here, the modules offered are the global challenges, which is the one module operating at the structural macro level, which introduces and discusses in depth all the global challenges like climate change, energy transition, digitalization, and so on, and tries to look how those create a new opportunities and challenges for the business models. The second is global marketing and communication. Then we go to organizational behavior, human resource management, and leadership. And then we have the other 3 modules in the spring term: global strategy and decision making, strategic financial management, and operation management, the digital age. So we cover the fundamental management areas from a global perspective. As I said, in between the semesters and the years, we have embedded work online packages where students get a lot of support for their placements. First of all, on how to present themselves and how to apply with important potential to get the placement in terms of a proper cover letter and so on. We also have a dedicated team for placements which support students with all the paperwork from beginning to finish, and they also advertise a number of positions exclusively for our MBA Global students. This does mean that most of our MBA Global students do make it to the placement. When a few of them cannot do it, we are now introducing the 4th strand of placement, the online business simulation, which students can choose any way if they want to, but it's also a safety belt in case students cannot make it to any of our placements. We don't just organize the degree around external placements, though. We have 2 very bespoke different placement opportunities. The one is the business clinic, where students take their placement in the role of business consultants and work on real life problems with real clients. And the other is the startup entrepreneurship, which is a dedicated placement opportunity, again, running over several months, where students come with an idea, work on this, and the whole point of this placement is to have students translate their business idea and bring it to the market eventually. The other main change we're bringing to the course with the revalidation is that we are moving away from dissertations of the classical humanities type with a high word count, and we are basically preparing and then having students embark on immersive learning over the last month, where they are going to do what we call the capstone project, again with briefs from real clients and real life examples. Students are going to be faced with a real life problem in their specialization area. It could be a finance or a supply chain problem, and they work in teams to resolve this. And in the end of the course, they will present this in a mini MBA global conference vis-a-vis external clients when they're available and when this is feasible. So this sums up what we're doing for the 20 months that students are with us, with year 1 being the taught module with embedded with embedded skills development programs for employability and support for the placements. And in year 2, students embark on a dedicated capstone project and on a bespoke placement opportunity. If you look at the following slide, this is just the same program, but tweaked around in terms of timeline for the February cohort. So answering to the main question, why should someone get an MBA Global in the University of South Wales? There are 6 distinctive features that this course brings. The first one, as we said, is the challenge-based learning opportunities. We have embedded real-life challenges across the board in all our modules, of course, in the placement opportunities and in the capstone project. We offer 4 strands of placements, a bespoke placement opportunity, and now that we have the business online simulation added as the 4th strand, we can guarantee the placement experience for all students. We have a very forward-facing project, the capstone project, where again students work in groups to provide satisfactory replies to real-life business challenges in their specialization area. We have a dedicated personal and professional skills development module, which is tailored to students' needs. So students become co-partners, especially in this module, because the whole point is that in the end of the program, they know what they want to learn more in. They want to become stronger in the areas they identify themselves as weak, and we help them grow and upskill in those areas. We have a dedicated Global Choices series running in most cases exclusively for the MBA Global course, and this is an embedded part of the business school as well and of the faculty, where we host distinguished speakers. 2 weeks ago, we had former Prime Minister of the UK, Tony Blair, talking about the global challenges of the world and what this means for the global business landscape. And the 6th and last distinctive feature is, as I mentioned before when answering a question, the CMI accreditation, which brings with it networks and resources for our students. Just to give you a snapshot of what students will actually be expected to do, I get very frequently questions about exams. We don't have exams in the program. We have what we would like to think of as forward-facing and business-tailored assessment portfolio, which is very diverse and which basically pits students against the very tasks they will be expected to undertake in their various roles in the business environment, like report writing, content creation like infographics or social media content, podcast presentation, business simulation, self-reflection, and so on. So when they finish with our course, they have done pretty much everything they will be asked to do in their employment. Just to draw this to an end, we have the understanding that our students have to look at wealth in a more broad brush way, not just profits and dollars and pounds, but about sustainability, protection from harm, and so on. So we embed social, political, and economic goals and sustainable goals. And we think that in order to get there, to achieve global wealth broadly understood, we need our students to be creative, innovative, to be problem solvers, to be flexible, and to have a global mindset. And those 5 are the principles and the attributes that we cultivate and we want to see all our students achieve by the end of their course. So thank you very much for giving me the time and the space here to present our bespoke MBA Global program, the flagship program of the Business School of the University of South Wales. I will stop sharing and we can open for questions.
Thank you. Thanks so much for the post. That was excellent. Really useful. Again, short and sweet. I hope that was useful for everybody here. We'll dive straight back into questions. I think a lot of them have been answered in the chat, so thank you for that. Yes, presentations will be shared with you, as will the contact details, so you can pick up the conversation again with the universities. Okay, let's go back to questions. There are some questions on the GMAT. Keith, if you want to also come back on screen, do you have to give the GMAT to study in the UK? When do you need to give it? Do your universities require it? If you want to just give a quick brief on that. And what's a good score in GMAT, etc. Philippos, if you want to start.
I'm not 100% to be honest. I don't think we need the GMAT, but we have the contact details in the southwales.ac.uk where students can revert any such questions. Okay.
Thanks, Keith. Do you want to?
Yeah, so at Aston we don't require GMAT, but by your first degree, and then, like I said earlier, with the MBA, first degree plus 3 years of postgraduate work experience, but no GMAT.
Great. Okay. There were some questions around the process of admission. So I don't know. I think if maybe Soumya will be well placed to answer this one. So Soumya, on behalf, I think, of UK universities in general, do you want to just quickly outline what it would typically be like to apply to a UK university, in a very short, quick, easy way, process of admissions?
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you so much. So ideally, it's more about the documents that you're submitting. So make sure that you are submitting all your documents going all the way to your grade 10, 10th, 12th, your undergrad documents. IELTS is something that can be waived off. Some universities waive it off. Some universities don't waive it off. So definitely put in your application is what I would recommend. Even if you don't have your IELTS, universities are still able to give you a conditional offer. So don't wait until you've taken your IELTS, put in your application. So even if you don't have it at this point, it's fine, but eventually you might need it. We need, or universities in general need, about 1 or 2 letters of recommendations. Some universities ask for 1, some universities ask for 2, Aston asks for 2. The flexibility that Aston has definitely given is because, of course, given the pandemic and the COVID situation, especially in India right now, we completely understand that it's very difficult to get the LORs on the letterhead at this point. So you can just get your referees to email us directly, your LOR as a simple typed email with your student ID there, and we will be able to, we will be happy to accept that. So, and of course, your personal statement. Your personal statement is definitely an important document of your application, guys. So make sure that it's very well thought of, very well written. It has to be a strong statement stating why you want to come to a certain university, why do you want to opt for a certain program, and how do you think you are actually going to use the knowledge you gain at the university. So basically, these are the documents that you would need. Every university has their own way of application. At Aston, you can literally just go on the program page. There's an apply now button on the top right hand side of each program page, and you can literally just click on that apply now button, create the map portal logins, which is the My Aston portal, create the logins, and you're good to go to apply. Literally, it's as simple as that. Some universities take postgrad applications via UCAS as well. Some universities might just have a different system, but at Aston, it's as simple as just going on the web page and clicking on the apply now button. I hope that answers your question.
It's really, really helpful. Thank you, Soumya. If South Wales wants to add anything to that, otherwise.
I see some questions about scholarship. I have notified my colleagues that students from India who apply for our course can automatically apply for a scholarship of £2,500. Okay, so this is embedded in the process. For any further questions around these issues, I would strongly recommend you get in touch with the email address that you have very kindly put in there, because they are the experts. They are working on these things every day, and they can give you the most spot on answers. I haven't seen anything else around this, but if I have missed anything, apologies. Please let me know, or just direct this query to our dedicated mailbox.
There's another question for South Wales, which is, when do we need to apply for MBA in South Wales University for 2023 admission, or for students who are graduating in 2023?
Well, you still have ample time. I think that usually the cutoff date is around 2 months before the starting day of the program. Again, I don't have the dates at hand, so if you could please direct this inquiry to the dedicated mailbox, that would help. But obviously, you have so much time ahead for that. So you have a lot of time to discover this.
And regarding scholarships, Soumya has very helpfully put in the scholarship options available for Aston. So one can get scholarships of up to £8,000 at Aston University. So for those of you who are interested in that, please do look at that. Quickly, again, there are some questions around masters in management. So do your universities offer that? A. B. What is the difference between an MBA and a master's in management? Keith, do you want to start with?
Yeah, I can do. Thank you. So we don't have a MIM, a Masters in Management. We don't have Aston. The closest we would have is a Masters in Business and Management. So a Master of Science in Business and Management. So there are they're at the same level. They cover a very similar content. A MIM is typically designed as a different label on the master's program. So for students who want to differentiate themselves, so that's why some institutions do offer them. For us at Aston, we've decided to stick with the Master of Science in Business and Management. The difference typically between a MIM or an MSc and the MBA is for us it would be the work experience, but of course at South Wales you can get the MBA without.
Yeah, at the USW side, we do have management degrees as well at the master level. As I'm the course leader of the MBA Global, and I'm not working on the other programs, I cannot provide more tailored information around this. But the difference between the MBA Global and all the other degrees is that we're trying to cultivate strategic thinkers at the global level. And compared to the MBA, usually the MBA follows a more Western-centric approach, while our course very much targets and has been built to cater for the needs of what we call emerging markets, but also for the UK or Western-based graduates and how they can look that the world has changed. We don't have the American blueprint for global business management anymore. For example, we take stock of these developments plus the ongoing global challenges. So we try to marry the strategic global with the micro level of different mid and management areas and inform our curriculum with those. So we think that from this point of view, we can offer a more forward-facing and diverse degree.
Thank you. Thanks for that. There's a question on, well, it's sort of a general question. If someone is interested in leadership, what kind of course would be suitable? What kind of theme should they study in business and management?
Well, our MBA Global is there to prepare leaders, and this is why we are also talking about responsible management and responsible leadership throughout as signatories to the UN Global Compact and with the course accredited by the CMI. We do have a dedicated stream in entrepreneurship, okay? But as Keith very correctly mentioned before, entrepreneurship has to be embedded everywhere. So we want to create leaders even within teams or leaders who will take the initiative in a big organization and so on. Leadership is one of the skills we cultivate, of course, and we want to see it in a broad way, what kind of attributes, what kind of skills are there. So even if you have a position that is not a leadership one, you can spring from this and grow.
Really helpful. Thank you. Keith, do you want to add to that at all?
Yeah, so I would agree. If you've got the work experience and you're looking to do an MBA, then our program is designed about making you the best leader you can be. If you're looking at developing leadership in other people, then our Masters in Human Resource Management has got a really strong leadership development strand, which you might find useful. And also in September, we have some programs, a Masters in Strategy and Leadership and a Marketing and Leadership and Entrepreneurship and Leadership. So if you're wanting to really focus on what those leadership skills are and how they link to strategy, to change, to making an impact in your organisation, then we have those there as well for you.
Brilliant. There are some super technical questions coming in. I'm going to take them very, very quickly as we wind up. And I will come to Archie right in the end to just learn a little bit about the student experience in the UK. To Aston, what's the highest CTC that has been provided to an MBA student? So what sort of income packages do students go away with typically in Aston?
A very good question. So I don't have a figure to give you, to be honest. So 90% of our graduates finish our programs and end up with graduate level roles, which in the UK means a salary of over £26,000. The Aston statistics demonstrate that we're the 15th highest earners, or our graduates are. So strong, but I can't give you a figure.
Thank you. Philippos, did you want to come in for South Wales?
Our program is very new and is the fastest growing since it was initiated in 2019. Our first graduates came out in June of 2021, so we really need some time for the statistics, I would say.
Fair enough. Yeah. Does University of South Wales require 3 years of work experience for MBA? I think that's a no.
There is no previous requirement for work experience.
Yep, I think you've mentioned that earlier, so that's useful. Is a student eligible to do a graduation program after a 3-year diploma and then with 8 to 10 years of experience? Would you accept a student who's just done a diploma at the undergraduate level, I suppose?
It could be depending on the degree and the country, because in some cases, for example, we have students from Nigeria, and we do accept their HNDs, which are equivalent, although it's less than 3 years. So it really will depend on the case. If you think that you're strong enough and can get into the program, I would strongly encourage you to have a discussion, first of all, with the admissions team. And then if you are encouraged, do apply, because we have several cases where students are referred to me for a final decision because they don't automatically fit the criteria, but there is a good point for them to be accepted.
Great. I think Soumya's putting in a response, so that's useful. Thanks, Soumya. Here's a question. What is the deadline for September 22? Sorry, Soumya, come in. Come in.
Step into that as well with respect to Aston. So I do understand that a lot of students in India and the entire South Asia region, for that matter, end up studying a diploma and then getting into a job rather than completing an entire degree. And I do understand that at a certain point in your professional life, you start to feel that stagnation of not being able to progress just because you don't have a degree in hand. And precisely for that reason, yes, absolutely, like Philippos said, it would completely depend on your credentials. Aston also has a work experience route on the MBA program. So if it is not just graduation that you're looking at, but more from a progression point of view in your job, or in your adding into your years of experience, or, you know, if even if it's for relocation and, you know, better salaries or job switches, etc. You can look at our MBA program via the work experience route, which actually asks for a minimum of 5 years of work experience. And if you've got 8 to 10 years of experience, rather than doing a BSc, you can actually get on directly onto our MBA. So again, of course, eventually our program director or Keith would probably be grading your application or assessing your application. So definitely put out recommendations to Keith for yourself. But yes, I would say you can go ahead and apply for the MBA directly as well. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Soumya. I think you can say, Keith, I saw you in the webinar if you want to consider letting me in. There's a question on deadlines. The last question I'm going to take before I invite Archie back on, which is, what is the deadline for September 2022 intake? The students looking for an MSc Finance or a MIM. I know that you don't have the MIM, but for MSc.
So I would, for Aston, I would encourage you to apply as soon as possible. So we are starting a process this year where we're reviewing all applications every 8 weeks, and then when we reach kind of our maximum capacity for a program, we'll then close it. So if there's a particular program you're interested in applying for, I would encourage you to apply as soon as possible. If there are spaces available, we will take applications right through to August for September. If it's a popular program, then you might find that when you come to apply in June that it's already closed. So I would encourage you to go as soon as you can.
Filippo, similar for you?
We don't have an MM or an MSc. I'm just talking about MBA Global.
MBA, yeah.
Always the TPs try to apply us early on, because there is always the possibility that positions will be filled. I was just talking about the cutoff date for the 2023 because it's a year ahead, but I fully agree with Keith that it's better to apply early on to allow yourself time to prepare, ask questions, and so not to hurry your application as well.
Yeah. It's very, very competitive. So I think you should start your preparations about a year in advance, and definitely if you're looking at September 2022,
Just to give you some numbers, a couple of months before the February start, we were sitting at 700 applications, and we finally have 150 students. So you can understand that there are loads which were not processed and so on, because there is so much you can do and there is a cutoff date. So it is super competitive.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. There are a lot of specific questions around typical, specific subjects like studying hospital management, supply chain. So I'm going to request those students to please pick up these conversations separately with the universities, because it's obviously a very unique case, for you and what the right advice is for you. So
if I may just take this very, very quickly, if you allow me a few seconds, because we do have specializations in the MBA Global. So if you are interested in supply chain, for example, you can apply for this, apply at Enroll, apply for MBA Global Supply Chain, okay? And then if you are successful, you come and join us and you do the proper course, but with the specialism attached and with all the specialized modules and so on, like the capstone project for supply chain and so on.
Excellent, great. But do pick up those conversations with the universities. You're going to get an email after this, everyone who's joined us today, with a recording of the session. You're going to get the presentations, you're going to get email IDs of the university, so you can just ask questions around your unique context and applications and ambitions, and the universities will be happy to advise you on that. Before we close, if I may invite Arshi back on, who's been very patiently waiting. Thank you, Arshi. I wanted to know from you, as a student from India, just a couple of things. How disruptive or easy was your experience of transitioning to a UK kind of the UK style of education, the classroom experience, and what has been sort of the most rewarding aspects of studying in the UK or studying business and management in the UK?
Okay, the thing is that it was very easy process because I directly applied to University of South Wales. My application has been accepted in with scholarship, and the process went very smoothly. Whenever I had any query, I used to put a mail. I used to get a very quick response and a very accurate. Very precisely, they can explain you the process, and this is the way I have moved to my towards my global MBA course. The thing is that a global MBA is basically a very good course. I find it in terms of like I'm getting a education plus internship along with that course. So I find I would suggest that this is very good course in terms of like any students who are like having a experience or not experience. If you ask me, I'm like having a Bachelor of Fine Arts background, but it was a very smooth working for me.
Great, thanks. Thank you, Arshi. That's really encouraging to know. I think that's the experience across the UK. I think Indian students, initially there is always, I think, a bit of a culture shock in terms of the way you are taught and the way the classroom experience is, but
actually, I would like to add
really,
here, Indian studies and the UK studies are completely different, but in the university, you are going to get all sort of support, because day one, when I have enrolled myself, like I got all sort of support from these study skills. We have lots of departments where you can take their help, and they will help you at each and every stage. Like in India, we have a culture of giving exams. Here we have assignments. So whenever we are getting assignments, you have to follow the steps which has been given to you, and you will get obviously good marks in your assessments.
Thank you so much. I think that's important to know. It is still very, very competitive to study business and management in the UK. Some of the best courses and degrees are there. So if you are interested, get a head start, start working on your applications. You have a treasure trove of kind of resources. You can always be in touch with the British Council, but also you will have direct access to the universities, which reminds me, on the 12th of February, to 2:30 p.m. onwards, there's a business and management fair. So do sign up for that on our website if you haven't already, and the link is given as well in the chat. On that note, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for taking time out of your day to be here with us and listen to us and asking all these excellent questions. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you to our panel for patiently being here, answering every question so nicely, generously, kindly. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye to everyone.